Okay.
All right, everybody, welcome to Virtual Career Tuesday. We are at the end of March, almost springtime is coming, and we are all ready for that. Today, we're welcoming team members from Mirador, and this is an exciting firm that really is moving into the financial space, and there are roles here for internship full-time jobs that students are going to want to know a lot about. As you know, listening to this video, you can fast forward to certain parts. We will put time stamps for you and summarize the session for you, but we're hoping that you spend the time to get to know what it's like to be a strong candidate for Mirador. So I'm going to introduce Leanne Zielinski, and then Leanne, I'll let you introduce Wyatt, and then I'll let you get started.
Okay, great. Hi, my name is Leanne Zielinski, and I work in the Human Resources Department here at Mirador. And we're very excited to be able to connect with UConn students. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about Mirador, what we're working on here, and then some of the positions that are available, particularly for spring 2022 graduates. With me today is Wyatt Hemley, who is an analyst here at Mirador, and he is a UConn grad, so he will be able to give you a firsthand knowledge of his role and his experience as an employee at Mirador.
Welcome, Wyatt.
Sure, you got
Thank
the
you.
setting.
Let's see. How's that?
So I'll just start by answering the question, who is Mirador? We are a fintech firm in the wealth management industry. We were founded in 2015 by Joe Larissa. We're located currently in Darien. We will be moving to a brand new location in Stamford sometime late summer, early fall. It's not too far away from this location, and it does have access to the train line. And it's in a very up and coming, exciting area of Stamford. Our clients are family offices, asset and wealth managers, foundations, and endowments. And the services we provide are wealth reporting, middle office, expert services, and we offer a gateway technology platform as well.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Why work for Mirador? We're a fast-growing company. Right now, we're in a phase of high growth. We currently have about 85, 90 employees. It changes every day, and we hope to double that number by the end of double plus that number by the end of the year. It's a very young, dynamic work environment. We provide a structured training program for our new staff members, and they become subject matter experts in financial reporting software, which is a great skill to have. And again, we're located in southwestern Connecticut with easy access to New York City as well.
So, Leanne, I love the fact that on your website it says we create financial pictures that leave nothing to the imagination. It's really kind of an interesting way of describing everything that you do.
Yes. So the biggest piece of our business is wealth reporting for our ultra high net worth clients. And what that means is we take information from their assets, no matter where they are held, and put it all in one place. So they have a curated, very specific report, so they can see where their wealth is at any given time. They can manage their risks, make decisions, and make sure that that their financial plan is proceeding as they would like. And again, the people who are working on these reports use third-party software, and they become experts using this software. There's client contact, and we place a strong emphasis on client service. We really provide white glove client service, and we want to make sure that the reports are accurate and timely, and that communication is open with the clients. And Wyatt, I think, could maybe speak a little bit more about that, just the relationship with the clients and the actual reporting that he does.
Absolutely. So we primarily use two main third-party softwares, Black Diamond and Adapar, which are these comprehensive online-based wealth reporting softwares that, like Leanne had mentioned, upon joining Mirador, we've become experts in a given software, multiple softwares, depending on what our clients' needs are. At least for me, we're all assigned not only an expert in the software itself, but an expert with my client and how their portfolio works, typical activity in that. So by becoming an expert in both, I'm able to very comprehensively understand the needs that the client has and how best to address those needs given both the abilities and limitations of the softwares that we use. But like Leanne had mentioned, ultimately at the end of the day, what I've become an expert in is providing, excellent service to our clients, because that is our value proposition, and ultimately that's where our real value is derived from.
Wyatt, did you have experience in either one of those programs before you started?
I did not. I came here from an FP&A background, and so that kind of made me nervous upon starting. But like Leanne had mentioned, we do have like very rigorous and comprehensive training programs that allowed me to catch up to speed very quickly. So there was no real issue with me not understanding the software is coming in, because it is a very kind of specific and niche type of software to be able to work with in the first place. So our training does a lot of great or covers a lot of what you'll need to learn, and then within that, as you go along, you start to learn some of the more nuanced items and how to become an expert and how to be even better working with them.
That helps a lot. Okay. And then I see that you've got this is always what we look for, Leanne, is what's an ideal candidate? How do students see themselves there?
So we do like to see a knowledge of an interest in financial services, just so that they're familiar a little bit with some of the lingo in the industry. An entrepreneurial spirit is always great, because even though we've been around since 2015, there is a sense of a startup in this company, because we are growing so quickly, and things are changing in a very positive way. It's sort of an ever-evolving process, which leads to a lot of opportunity for team members. Strong technical and communication skills are obviously desired, particularly with computers and software. Just not the specific software that we use, but software in general. We really like candidates who are eager to learn, who are hardworking, who want to learn something new, and are very open to learning new things, and ask a lot of questions, and are curious about what we do.
And what I don't see here is a list of required majors, right? Which really opens it up to students all across the board.
Exactly.
Econ majors are not part of the School of Business, but we certainly do share these videos, the reels, like whatever you want to call them. I'm not so good with the technology there, but we definitely share them with students from other majors. What was your major, Wyatt?
I was a finance major, so
okay.
That allowed me to be able to pick things up maybe a bit quicker with just understanding the terminology, but it definitely is not a detriment to be coming from another major. It's more about software understanding and just general curiosity, like Leanne had said, and that desire to want to learn. And it's very, very doable. I can attest to that.
Okay. So we have a major that's called data analytics, which is relatively new. And either Judy or Mick could speak to that a little bit, but Leanne, I think that is one that might have a nice blend there.
Yes, definitely. And as Wyatt said, because he was a finance major, he was able to pick things up faster. But we do have some team members who were not in finance or economics, and it just may take them a little bit longer. But we do have such a great training program that really anybody can learn it. We just want to hire really smart, hardworking people, and we'll take care of the rest.
And how are you balancing it? Because 85 to 90 employees, and you're looking at doubling that. I know you're growing into a bigger space, but is it that the students or the new employees come in as a cohort and then they go
Yes.
through the trainings together?
Yes. So right now we are hiring immediate candidates for financial reporting analyst positions.
Okay.
And they come in and they have a little bit of a different training program rather than the class. But they are still trained and they do learn everything they need to know. But we are hiring for a summer class, and that will be approximately 30 new hires starting June 14th, and they will be going through a rigorous 2-week training program, and they'll be together throughout that period. And right now we're actively recruiting, actively interviewing for those positions. If candidates or students are interested, they should apply as soon as they can.
Okay. Yeah. And, we'll probably circle back with a few more questions on that. So I think
Sure.
this is really helpful the way you've broken this down of what a financial reporting analyst actually does.
Yes, and I'm going to turn that over to Wyatt.
Sure. So kind of what we could see, let's start with financial reporting. So one of the big things that is important for Mirador to step in, and the reason that this can't be done separately, is that most of our clients are holding, valued or data or just various holdings across different custodians. So they might have Schwab accounts, JP Morgan accounts, Goldman accounts. They may have alternative investments. They have all sorts of data that they can't aggregate on their own because we're dealing with clients in the hundreds of millions of dollars as far as a portfolio. So they kind of use us as that third party to blend everything together and provide that analysis that may not have been possible previously, where they would have to kind of aggregate the data themselves. But a big thing of what we do is analyzing and explaining portfolio results. So when I develop a quarterly report for a client, trying to highlight different elements of what may or may not have occurred during that quarter, trying to highlight, odd returns, anything of that nature. And like I said, data consolidation is a big part of what we do. These third-party softwares allow us to aggregate this data very, very easily and very clearly and effectively. And with all that data, we then generate custom reports for a given client's needs. So if a client wants to see, their income summary for a given quarter or across any given period of time, we can generate that. If they want to see a whole listing of everything that they hold and what the price is, the units, etc. If they want to see, returns on the account level, it has, infinite possibilities, but it's just understanding the client needs and developing a report to best suit those needs. Another element of what we do is, obviously developing the relationships with the clients, and that involves both bringing new clients onto the softwares, where some may already be on the software, but might be migrating over to Mirador because they feel like the current provider of that sort of total portfolio look is not doing a sufficient job. But client onboarding would require taking all that data and trying to find the best ways to organize it on the software. And then day-to-day support. So clients will maybe have a question specific to something, like if they're trying to apply for a loan and they're looking to see their total income upcoming for the year to see what their possible exposure is, or all sorts of different specific things that the client might need throughout the year. We're very often just updating things on a daily basis and touching base with the client. And then software is kind of the third part of what I do with a given client. And that's trying to identify the best softwares to suit their needs. Here at Mirador, we offer expert services, which is basically a software consulting arm of Mirador. And that allows us to, bring in new softwares or suggest softwares to the client that may kind of address some of the needs that are not being currently met with the main softwares, Adapar and Black Diamond, that we use.
Well, this certainly isn't the the time where somebody looks at a job and says, I'm going to be doing the same thing all day long. You're crossing all the boundaries here. And it makes sense for the fact that you're looking at all different majors, right? Because you can teach the reporting, but that client relationship is something that's really important and hard to teach, right? If you don't have that communication side.
Absolutely. Yeah. Soft skills are incredibly important. Knowing how to communicate with a client, when communicating with a client is best. So you're not just sending them 50 million messages a day, which for these types of clients would either be very concerning for them, because they typically like to know that we're taking care of all of their problems and that anything that we come back to them is of the utmost importance, or just trying to explain to a client perhaps what our capabilities are, and what is realistic, because sometimes clients,
Right.
they'll have a million requests, and just understanding how to best kind of talk someone down from maybe being insistent on one thing versus another, and just that level of communication is very critical.
Mm-hmm. And are there different levels of the financial analyst? So the roles that you're recruiting for right now is the entry level. And then as you
Mhm.
get more experience in it, do you do maybe less of the software and more of the client relationship?
Yes, that is ultimately what happens. So I came on as an associate. So I believe the entry level would be analyst, then it moves to associate, senior associate, and then I believe associate vice president of reporting. And as you go further up those levels, you still do some data management where you're going through statements and trying to update data for the client, but a lot of it ends up being more the kind of the strategic element of it, because as we deal with larger and larger clients, it ends up being a lot of work and trying to, or having that expertise in a software, and what a client might need from previous
Mm-hmm.
clients that you have worked on is invaluable and saves time, and really makes the client feel more comfortable with this process, being able to explain the higher level processes to them and kind of demonstrate that expertise.
Right. Because I mean, it sounds like some of the conversations having with potential clients is letting them know that they're not going to have to learn a new technology to work with you. That you guys take care of all of that, and they just they get it all in one place instead.
Absolutely, yeah, and just kind of demonstrating the expertise is definitely a big part of what we do, and just having that knowledge to be able to answer, any question that they might come up with, because they will have a million, because obviously when you're managing this much money for someone, they're very curious as to how it's all being done, to the very to a granular level, and just trying
Mm-hmm.
to, and having that expertise of building from the bottom up, always helps to assuage their concerns.
Right. So it looks like there's a question here from Saif. Could somebody read that for him?
Is there a lot of emphasis on the software aspect? Are there any strictly finance opportunities, or is it all a mix? Also, I apologize for not putting on my mic. I'm having some technical difficulties. um,
So,
so do you,
oh, sorry.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
So the way that I can best, or at least the way that I understand it, is that there are no direct finance elements of this job where you're just going to be, analyzing a portfolio, or trying to create, some return metric over a period of time. It's very much the marriage of having the financial knowledge and then being empowered by the software to kind of utilize that knowledge and leverage it to optimize whatever the client's looking for. So we have the knowledge of the finance space. We work, very closely with people who work in the finance space. So we'll work with like some trust managers or fund managers or the single family office specific wealth manager. But we are not the actual ones going through and kind of making trades or doing any sort of actual financial transactions of that nature, or creating strategy rather. But
Mm-hmm.
having that knowledge of how that all works is instrumental in working with the software, because if you don't have some form of background of finance, which either from the university degree or from how we are able to train you, it's a little bit more difficult. So it's a very much marriage and a merge of the two different types of expertise, both in software and finance.
Is there somebody talking in one of your offices, or is that somebody who joined us?
No, that's me. Apologies.
Right, so that's how you learn how, when you're working in business, you work together with people. That's perfect.
Yes,
right.
There's a lot going on. That's why there's conversation in the background.
That's
Wyatt,
good.
how many clients are you working on currently?
So I have 6 clients at the moment. 5 of them are actually condensed within our native instance of Black Diamond. So those are, while there's 5, I kind of treat them as one. And then I have another client who works primarily in Adapar, and we've been doing an onboarding process with them. So I have all sorts of exposure to all different types of clients and client projects as a result.
Okay.
So then, Leanne, I know, I mean, this is the part that, it's, we call these sessions employer insights. This is the part where we really look to you to tell the students that are watching this, what do they need to do, right, to be the strongest candidate? So can you talk a little bit about the phone screen first? What kind of questions are on the phone screen?
Sure. So the phone screen is done by a member of the human resources team, and it's primarily a way for Mirador to get to know the candidate a little bit more, to go over their background, just to get a sense of the kind of culture that they expect in an organization, how they manage their time, how they learn a new process. And overall, just get a sense if they would be a good fit for Mirador.
Okay.
And we do we do give an overview, of course, of what Mirador does, as well as we go into a bit of detail about the actual position. The phone screen usually lasts 15 to 20 minutes, and it is a true phone screen. It's not generally a Zoom interview. The next level of the next phase of the interview process is interviewing with a current Mirador analyst or associate. So someone may interview with Wyatt or one of his colleagues, and that's where they go more in depth into the position, the day-to-day tasks that are involved, much of what Wyatt was talking about with regards to the different parts of the position. And again, they get a sense of how the candidate would fit in, if the candidate seems to be interested in the position, and then after that's done, the final stage is with the team lead manager. So we do have different teams within the Mirador, and we have team leads, and that candidate would meet with the team lead to make the final. That would be the final step in the process. HR and the team lead and the analyst or associate who met with them would confer, and then the next step would be taken about whether to offer the candidate a position.
And through this process, either at the interview with the analyst or the team lead, do you do like case interview questions? Does the person have to do any kind of a project, assessment, anything like that?
No assessments or projects are required.
Okay. And then the brief phone screen, I kind of like to tell students, and we all share this with them, is that it's kind of the gateway. If you can't prove that you know who Mirador is and have some understanding of what the job is that you're interviewing for, you're not going to make it past the first one. So
yes.
Really do your homework and understand what you're applying for.
Exactly. And I've done several phone screens, and the candidates that know who Mirador is, what they do, and have done a little bit of research, they really do stand out. So that is a very, very good point. It's as easy as looking on the website and doing a Google search to see what Mirador is up to, and just using some of that information that you found in the phone screen.
And what do you look for on a resume? What type of experiences?
Obviously a background in finance is preferred, whether or not they've had any internships involved in finance or others. and the types of classes that they've taken in school, and just really a sense of someone who is curious and does have a variety of different activities, whether it be jobs or participating in different clubs at school. We tend to have a lot of college athletes here, which I always, whenever I screen a college athlete, I ask them how they manage their time, considering they're spending 20 to 30 hours a week on their sport. So those are always, I'm always very impressed by the amount of time that they spend and how they're able to manage everything. So just a well-rounded candidate, I think, is what we're looking for.
And Wyatt, when you first interviewed for the job, what type of experience did you have? Had you done an internship somewhere?
So I actually was I graduated in 2018, and then I started at a consumer packaged goods company in Stamford, and I worked there for about 2.5 years, and then started the interview process with Mirador. So my experience was having the finance degree, but also having some FP&A experience in the real world. So my main point of expertise coming in was kind of data management and big data. But
okay,
yeah.
That's helpful. That's really helpful. And it sounds like you may have sat in on some interviews. Others since you've been there?
Yeah. So I've actually conducted a few analyst level interviews, and I know personally the ones that I've had the most, perhaps a better way to phrase it is the ones that have been the best candidates and have moved forward are ones like Leanne had said, or ones who demonstrate beyond just having the qualifications that they're actually interested in bettering themselves, developing their skills, and really, find value or find, some form of satisfaction out of, becoming better at their job every day or learning more about whatever they do every day. And I know for me, I picked up a bunch of skills while I was working at this consumer packaged goods company. And I think that was a big part of why I was successful in the interview process. I think that showing that you're interested in learning, you're interested in developing yourself, and that you're interested in becoming the best you could possibly be at your job is critical.
And this is for either Leanne or Wyatt. When you're interviewing, what are a few things that you find that candidates often get wrong? Like that they don't understand what Mirador is, or they're missing an opportunity to really highlight skills in a certain area?
I think what stands out to me is if they are interviewing for a finance position, even if they don't have a finance background, they should be able to speak to the lingo a bit. And if I have candidates who don't do that at all, that gives me a little bit of hesitation. So even if they aren't a business or economics major, do a little bit of research, find out what the general lingo and terms are of the financial space, and incorporate those into your answers. Because I do tend to have an ear out for that. And I think also just being able to proudly talk about their accomplishments. It's always great to hear I've spoken to so many college students, and they've done so many amazing things, and it's always great to hear them talk proudly about it and go into detail about what they've done. So don't be afraid to talk about yourself and to talk about what you've accomplished.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I think students really, and any candidates, need to hear that. It's okay to be proud of what you've done.
Yes.
What about you, Wyatt?
I would say typically when people come in, they'll say that they're proficient in Excel or, other sorts of Microsoft software. And I know Excel is the basis for what we do a lot of the time here in trying to consolidate data, analyze data, and kind of clean data. So I think that when candidates are applying, I think it'd be very useful for them to elaborate with how, the type of Excel experience that they have and their skills, because I think people are often afraid to say their skills in Excel because they might run into someone perhaps that is super skilled and they feel like they might be quizzed. And I promise it's not going to do that. It's more just trying to understand where you are and what your capabilities are to a very specific level, because that ultimately is going to be a lot of what you do on a given day-to-day basis.
Okay. And that's really important here too. Do either one of you use LinkedIn to look at a candidate's profile?
My colleague Megan Keith is on LinkedIn quite a lot.
Okay.
So she does use LinkedIn, yes.
Okay. And how do you feel about cover letters? Because some people love them, some people don't use them.
They are not required. And I don't think I've received any cover letters. So we're okay without cover letters.
Okay. Excellent. So put the time and research into understanding the company,
Exactly.
know the nomenclature, all of that. Excellent.
Exactly.
Okay. So we try to keep this to a half an hour, but I want to make sure that if there are questions from anybody on the team, something that I haven't spoken yet, yeah. So is there anybody on my team or anybody that's on the call? Because I can't see who's on the call. Oh, Judy, go ahead.
Yeah, I had a question, Leanne. You mentioned an incoming summer class of possibly as many as 30, but just to clarify, those are full-time jobs. That is
Those
not
are
a
full.
summer internship, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
That is a full-time position. We are currently, as far as interns go, we do have an internship program. However, applications for the internship program is currently closed, and we're in the process of making offers right now to interns. However, if there are students who are viewing this and are not yet graduating this year and would like to pursue an internship next summer, we just will post the position on Handshake, and they can apply as soon as they see it. But yes, we will. We do have a growing internship program, but the summer class is definitely full-time analysts.
Okay. And my other quick question is, are your employees back in the office? Are you doing hybrid situation? How are you organizing that?
We are basically 100% back in the office. Masks are currently optional. We do have a hybrid program that starts after 6 months of employment, where an employee can work up to 3 days a week from home without really any reason, if they can just say they want to work from home. But that starts after 6 months, and it's at manager discretion. Barring any surges or variants, we are hoping to remain in the office, and everybody really uses good common sense when it comes to COVID.
Okay, thank you.
And Leanne, thank you, Judy. Are all the roles in Darien and then moving into Stanford, or are there other locations?
There is a Salt Lake City, Utah location, and we are hiring analysts for there as well. But the largest number is in the Darien/Stanford location.
Okay. And when did you say that is it next summer that you're thinking that you'll be moving?
No, it's sooner than that. It'll be late summer, early fall.
Oh, that's exciting.
It is exciting. Yes.
Yeah, so we may want to connect you with Judy and maybe get you onto campus.
Yeah, that would be great.
Any other questions? I think that there was another student that might have joined us partway through.
I was just going to actually ask another question for Leanne, and why, as far as the growth, I mean, you guys are definitely planning on doing a lot of growth for the next couple of years. It sounds like. Where do you see the company going in the next 5 years, or is services going to expand out more than just wealth management side on an individual basis, but maybe more of asset management, working with a variety of asset managers, or endowments, investment firms, hedge funds, private equity? Is there more to the investment side than just necessarily the high net worth clients as well? Go ahead.
That's probably a question for Wyatt, but I can also say that geographically we're expanding into different parts of the world as well. So that's part of the 5-year plan. As well. But Wyatt, do you want to answer the first part of that question?
Sure. So I know as we've expanded since I've joined, a lot of our expansion, obviously taking on new clients and fulfilling those clients' needs, is as we take on more clients, we're obviously hiring more people to do that. But as time goes on and we expand as well, we've also expanded the breadth of services that we offer, and we've kind of refined our relationships with Black Diamond and Adapar, where we are now doing more relationship work with them. So it's a kind of an expansion of the current relationships that we have with the softwares that we work with, where we're becoming the main person that they would recommend if a new client reaches out to them. So kind of fulfilling that role, as well as fulfilling some more possible software solutions as time goes on. We've expanded our expert services wing of Mirador a lot recently, and then that's been allowed because we now have this size, and our clients are now looking for these new solutions that they may not have been available beforehand. So it's an expansion of our services offered, expansion of our clients, just number, and then expansion of our relationship and what kind of role we play with these softwares themselves.
Fantastic. Thank you.
So, Leanne, we do have a significant population of international students, both on the undergraduate and graduate side. Does Mirador hire students who need sponsorship, or they would be using their OPT for a few years, so they wouldn't need it right away?
Generally speaking, that's kind of still open for discussion. And I think it would have to be, we would have to look at the situation case by case.
Okay, that makes sense. And our graduate students, so, they generally have work experience before getting into the graduate program. So some of them could have some significant experience there. Okay, this has been wonderful. Sue, anybody else have any questions before we wrap up? And then was there anything that you really wanted to be able to share, Leanne or Wyatt, that we didn't ask about?
I would just say that, being at Mirador right now is this is a very exciting time because there's so much growth going on and there's so much opportunity. And it definitely is a very young, dynamic organization. It's just, people are very friendly. It's a nice place to work. I know that sounds kind of trite, but it really is. You spend a lot of time at work and you want to have a nice place to go to. The questions are encouraged. There's a lot of support. There's a lot of camaraderie and teamwork. So it's really a nice organization.
That's a lot to be said for such a high stress, finance type work.
Yes.
Wyatt, what do you want to say to fellow Yukon Huskies?
I would say that I think a lot of the value in joining Mirador is in that at this stage of the company's development, you're able to put in work and see that work both rewarded in terms of advancement and you having that direct impact on the success or failure of the company. At the company I was at previously, we're talking 20, 30,000 global employees. So it's very hard to feel like, you're making an impact when you come in every day, and, you could do your job well for months and never really be noticed for that. And here, being a smaller organization that's continually growing, when you do put that effort in, when you do put that hard work in, it's noticed, and you're rewarded in various ways, whether that, comp related stuff or position related stuff, or at the very end of the day, just knowing that you matter in the organization. And I know that was big for me because I felt a little bit lost at times in that larger organization. So I found that this has been a much more rewarding experience so far.
I think that's beautiful because a lot of times students want to know what's the culture, and you both, without even using that blanket statement of here's our culture, you just both made it sound like it's a very joyful place to work. Well, we appreciate everything. We appreciate the time that you took. I know that we do share these presentations with student organizations. So, Leanne, I think we talked in our original call about, making sure that the student organizations know all about Mirador. So we'll continue to share that. And Wyatt, we really appreciate having alumni come back and share some insight.
Of course.
So thank you. And Tricia, you can stop recording.